Hello everyone and a happy new year. It's the 4th of January 2026 and a very cold snowy day in the UK. Hope you all had a good Christmas if you celebrate and enjoyed the festivities. New year, new me. No, that's not right. New year, new book, I meant to say. Judging by the amount of chocolate I had yesterday, new year appears to be old me. But that's perhaps content for another channel. So I wanted to kick off the new year and start talking about my plans for 2026. And I am going to commit this year to releasing 2 more books in my series, in the White Moth series. Book 2 is tentatively penciled in for around May. If I can bring it forward, I will. Some of my adoring fans, actually they're people in my team who are probably paid to say this, would like it released sooner. But if I can, I will. And book 3 is going to be hopefully around November time, in time for Christmas, that kind of thing. So it's very much about getting those 2 things done. Now, while all of that's going on, I've got a fair bit of promotional stuff to do, a fair bit of marketing stuff to do. I still have to digest a report that somebody put together with some recommendations, which I've done some of. In fact, if you head to my book page for the first book, Darkling and the Wasp, on Amazon now, you should see what's called an author page further down, where I've kind of just brought in some content from the website, just pulled together a few little tidbits about it. So that'll be updated as I go. And it also recommended I reclassify my book, because I've always been under the impression that it's a young adult fantasy. And in fact, Amazon's age range selector said, 14 years and up, and I thought, it's a young adult fantasy. Someone made an interesting point the other day to say that it's normally a young adult fantasy because the person in the book, the protagonist, is a young adult, but of course they're not. They're nearly 40. I actually changed it to epic fantasy on the categorization in Amazon. Now, obviously, that had the net effect of pushing it further down the list, which is fine, but because there's a lot of epic fantasy out there. I think if I proceed on that basis, we'll see how that goes. So I'll certainly be doing that for book 2, and see what happens. So, book 1, I suppose, just a quick update on that. I've sold a fairly respectable amount, considering it's been 2 months. So I'm quite pleased with the reception. I've had some really good feedback. I've had lots of lovely reviews, not just from people I know, but from strangers. People have contacted me via the website, duncanwritesfiction.com. And they've said, some really nice things. One gentleman asked me to send him and sign a hard copy to him, and actually put a little quote in it, and things like that. So that's nice. I like talking to these people. They're very interesting, and some fellow authors as well who are self-published. They've been in touch, so that's been quite good. So I've obviously now at the stage with book 2 where I'm kind of done with my edit, in the sense that I've read it through, I've edited it, and as a non-professional at editing, I'm kind of happy with how the book feels and how the book reads. I'm probably going to do one more print out and have another read through myself, do some final tweaks. But ultimately, I'm aiming to get it sent to for copy edit and developmental work around towards the end of Jan, early Feb. Which will take potentially, a month or so, six to 8 weeks to get through. While that's going on, I've got some updates coming to the website soon. So I'm talking to the website editor at the moment. I wanted to put some of the reviews about book 1 up on the site in a kind of movie poster style. 5 stars, thrilling. 5 stars, must read, that kind of thing, but perhaps with a little bit more detail. So I'm going to hopefully sort of add a bit of a ratings and a reviews page so that people can see, because I think the reviews are really, really important. Which reminds me, if you haven't yet reviewed it on Amazon or Goodreads, please do. Just 30 seconds, just rate it. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be particularly nice if you didn't enjoy the book. It's more important that I just get those reviews up. That really, really matters, I think, and that's partly what helps potential buyers help make them that buying decision. It's no different from buying a pressure washer for your car or for your driveway. You look at the reviews, and if there's a lot of high reviews, and there's a lot of them, it gives you the confidence to buy. If you see a 5-star review, there's only one of it, you think, well, that could just be his mate. Which up to now it mostly is, but the point is, if you haven't yet reviewed the book, please do feel free, and please be as honest as you want to be, because I need the feedback. I want to be a better writer. At the moment, I don't want to necessarily surround myself in an echo chamber where people are just telling me what I want to hear because they care about me, or that they love me, or they want the best for me. I do want more dispassionate reviews of things, because that's ultimately how I can grow as a writer. So yeah, some changes to the website there, and also we'll start to pull together the bones of the Book 2 page, which I want to be featured on the site, which brings me nicely on to Book 2, The Darkling and the King. So, as those who will have read the book know, Book 1 will know that Fen and Hessa departed Barrisol on the way to Traken, on the way to the capital, to confront the Amaron, so that Fen could try and understand a little bit more about what this connection was that he had to him, why they potentially shared the same dreams, which Eleanor kind of semi-revealed to him in the while she was halfway through trying to incinerate him. And off they went, and Taliesin was made the magistrate. Emmett was recalled to the capital to answer some difficult questions about his handling of the situation. And that's pretty much how the book ended. So I'll just give you a brief sort of tease about what to expect. Whereas Book 1 talked about themes of prejudice, of identity perhaps, of kind of self-discovery, of self-improvement, that kind of thing, Book 2 focuses on more practical things, and in this case it is set during some very tense negotiations for a peace treaty. And that peace treaty is between a race of barbarians and a race called the Dune. And I'm going to get into more details about the barbarians and the Dune in later videos. But suffice to say, Fen and Hessa become embroiled in this peace treaty, and obviously get themselves into hot water and get involved in it, and it all goes horribly wrong, and they have to kind of sort it all out. But also in the process of, as I said, that practical element of a peace treaty, because that's a thing that you write about, it's also an opportunity for Fen to learn. We also advance the story that I started with Fen's childhood. So when we see Fen again in this book, there's 3 or 4 chapters sprinkled throughout the story where he is now 16 years old. He is in the School of Cormagus, School of Magic. His sister is in the School of Validus, and they are suddenly called to battle because there are political manoeuvrings in Umber, in the Other. And it's kind of understanding the story of why that battle happened and what Fen's delightful father Zenon, and I say that with absolutely no sarcasm whatsoever, the lengths that he goes to secure a lasting peace. And of course, as I'm sure you'll appreciate, the more nuanced among us will appreciate that you can still have peace after everyone's been killed. I mean, there's no war if there's no one left alive to fight. And I won't go any further than that. So we'll hopefully you'll enjoy that aspect of it. But of course, as with a lot of his story, it takes something from his childhood that happens in parallel to the present day, because I felt it was important to sprinkle those kind of backstories throughout the book, because it helps to facilitate, it helps to explain, and it helps to kind of justify his behaviours as an adult. As children, so much of our adult life is determined when we're younger, in the way that we think, the way that we feel, the way that we approach different situations, our motivations, our behaviours. And so it was important to me to set that scene from when he was a lot younger, because that informs his life now as an adult. And those around him can start to see why he behaves in the way he does, and what he struggles with so much, and why he struggles with some of the basics. When all those around him kind of are like, well, yeah, of course it's obvious that you would care for someone. Of course it's obvious that you would want to love your family because it's family. But Fen is the ultimate. You can't choose your family. And I'm under no obligation to love my family or even like them just because we're related by blood. It's that kind of thing. So yeah, a lot of the story kind of revolves around the struggles with that. And Fen meets the barbarian king, King Drobar Tugol. And you can think of the barbarians, I'll go into more detail in other videos, but you can think of them in very much a medieval Viking setting, effectively. You know, there's nothing fancy or special about them. They worship Sol, because who doesn't, in my world. So they worship Sol, obviously, and he's the king of Sol for his people. And they are divided into clans, and, you know, you can kind of fill in the rest with your own imagination. And a very fractious relationship that he has with his brother Vekel. And Vekel is his military advisor, and his brother, obviously, the head of the armies. And it centres around Drobar's struggles with losing his father in a famous battle, the Battle of the Blood Moon, and the fact that the peace treaty would involve them handing over some of their land to the Dune, land where their father is buried. So there's a little bit of spirituality around it, a little bit of tradition, a bit of mysticism, that kind of thing. It's sacred ground, effectively, and he's struggling with that kind of thing. So yeah, while that's all taking place, we see the consequences of Emmett's actions from the first book play out as he arrives at the capital and is confronted by Vadilum Greyguard, everyone's favourite elder. We advance the Amaron story a little bit, and we start to build up the picture of what happened to Isolde Hearthwyck at the end of book one, of course, and Emmett is brought in to investigate that by Vadilum for reasons that shall be revealed. So it's very much kind of, if book one was kind of about identity and prejudice, this is about the value of peace and war, you know, the value of attaining peace in a wartime situation, and the lengths that people will go to achieve it. Some of them selflessly, some of them selfishly. And it's all about the various goings on and how they're motivated in different ways. So that is book two, The Darkling and the King. And as I say, I'm hoping to get that out around May, hopefully the 1st of May, 1st, 2nd of May, something like that. If I can bring it forward, I will do. But for now, I will leave it at that. This was just a bit of a tantalising video. What you can look forward to is an exploration of each character. I'm going to be doing some social media posting, just highlighting and introducing those characters, the main players in the story, in the coming months. One every few weeks, something like that. As always, please sign up to the newsletter. The newsletter is due out in the next week or so for January, the January newsletter, and effectively it's going to be summarising a lot of what I've spoken about today. But if you're so inclined, please feel free to subscribe. You can do so by going to the website, duncanwritesfiction.com, and you'll see a newsletter. Sign up there. That's the best way to get news, up-to-the-date news and information and teasers about things outside of these YouTube videos. So yeah, that's it. I will leave you there, and thank you very much for your attention. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you soon.